Good morning, Trojans. Today is November 2nd, and it's a B-Day. I'm Melissa Diaz.
And I'm Shwell Piazza. On today's program, we'll hear from Aiden and Max with an update on local elections, but first, the news.
Welcome to Trojan Broadcast News. In local news, a measure on Petaluma City ballot election is Measure P. This measure promises to expand civilian oversight of the Sonoma County Sheriff's Office. Civilian oversight of the Sheriff's Office has existed since 2013, after an officer shot and killed 13-year-old Andy Lopez, mistaking his toy airsoft rifle for a real gun. But despite civilian oversight, there are those who feel it needs more transparency. Measure P will compel the sheriff to disclose data around racial profiling and deputy-involved shootings. Measure P will provide the Civilian Oversight Committee direct and independent access to evidence.
In national news, the election is tomorrow. Many seniors here at Petaluma High can vote for the first time this year, and polls show that there is high interest among young voters. The highest was in 2008 when Barack Obama was elected. In that year, 50% of eligible young voters turned out and voted. Since then, their participation has dropped. But this year, early indications show more young voters are engaged. What does this mean? Well, polls show that Gen Z and Millennial voters favor Democratic candidates over Republican candidates in this election. Stay tuned these next few days after the election to see the impact of these young voters.
And finally, in international news, while the U.S. is about to have their president elections, in Latin America, the country of Chile is going further and has decided to rewrite their country's constitution, which was created by General Augusto Pinochet, who ruled from 1973 to 1990. A year ago, protests about income inequality began. It started small with people angry about an increase in subway fees, but became more extreme until the current president of Chile, Sebastián Pinera, sent in the military, reminding residents of the dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet. Citizens see this as an opportunity to demand better healthcare, education, and raising of minimum wage.
More information about these news stories can be found in this video's description. And now, this week's only announcement is about recent absences. If you have been marked absent for a class, please have your parent or guardian contact the attendance office within 3 days. Parent Square is one way to notify the office of an absence. Attendance is logged on a regular basis, and unexcused absences will remain on your record.
Today we have special local election coverage. Aiden Perez and Max Bloom have interviewed the candidates for Petaluma School Board and City Council. First up is Aiden's interviews with the candidates for school board.
Hello, Trojans. My name is Aiden Perez. I recently was able to secure interviews with the 4 candidates running for the 2020 Petaluma School Board. It is important to remember that our school is currently undergoing tremendous stress and uncertainty due to COVID-19 and the distance learning program. So with that, a reminder of the importance and responsibility that this upcoming election brings to students, as well as our community, in selecting the next representative that will determine and have influence over the next 4 years. During the interviews, I asked questions such as, what changes do you want to make? Why are you running for school board? And why should people vote for you? What are the strengths and weaknesses at Petaluma schools? The responses covered both Petaluma High School as well as Petaluma City Schools. All 4 candidates have taught in the classroom with experience ranging from junior high level, high school, and college level. Linda Judah, who taught science at Petaluma High School, wants to address systemic racism and sexual misconduct on our campuses. Sheldon Jen, who teaches at San Francisco State University, believes in the ideals of public service and giving back to the community while reinstating the learning losses that distance learning has caused. Ellen Webster taught high school for 28 years and wants to focus on promoting diversity and tolerance while finding creative solutions to return students back to school as soon and safe as possible. And Carol Ann Street, who taught for 52 years, 27 of them at Petaluma Junior High, feels that students are the #1 priority. All of these in-depth answers, as well as a portion of time in which each candidate is allowed to address Petaluma High School as a whole, can be found in the full-length interview. I would like to thank the candidates for their time. This entire interview can be found on our Trojan Broadcast Channel.
Thank you, Aiden, for that informational piece. Our next local election coverage is from Max Bloom, who interviewed many of the candidates running for Petaluma City Council.
Hello, Trojans. The election is right around the corner. The national election has been getting a lot of attention, and for good reason. 2020 will be a very important election year. However, there is another election that I feel has been getting overlooked. This is none other than the local city council election. In the 2020 local election, there are 8 candidates vying for 3 seats, 3 of whom are incumbents. The 5 new candidates are Robert Conklin, Brian Barnacle, Susan Kirks, Lizzie Wallach, and Dennis Pocekay. The incumbents running for re-election are Kathy Miller, Mike Healy, and Gabe Kearny. I reached out to all of the candidates and was able to interview many of them. Following are some excerpts from the full interviews. My first question was, what major goals do you want to accomplish as a council member?
I really want to improve the quality of our streets. Our roads are the worst in the entire Bay Area, and it's really creating a safety issue for pretty much everybody who's on our roads. We absolutely need to repair our streets as a matter of public safety and make that a priority. We also need to start building housing that people can afford.
Goals I would like to accomplish: definitely saving the fairgrounds for the future generations. The lease is up in 2023, which is in 3 years. And this council that's being elected now are going to be the ones making the decisions on what happens to the fair. Whether the city sells the property, restructures the property, or leaves it how it is.
Our downtown fire station is 80 years old. It's not seismically safe. We use it because we have to. The 2 fire stations on the east side are both, 40 or 50 years old and in need of renovations. Our police station is in need of a lot of work.
One is community safety. Right now, there's quite a bit of emphasis nationally, internationally, and also here locally related to police activity and how people in our community feel safe. And I think that our city needs to do an examination and a review of how our citizens feel, how safe we feel.
Obviously, we want to keep fixing our roads. We've redone Sonoma Mountain Parkway. We've just finished redoing Maria McDowell North McDowell is next. One of the things that we're going to be taking a look at coming up is our Climate Commission has done a sort of a climate action plan, and we're going to start going through that and talking about that.
Transportation and economic development. And I think we have an extraordinary amount of potential to really set ourselves up well for the future to come. And, making sure that we have affordable housing for folks that are working here, that are teaching here, that are going to school here, that are raising their children here, that are growing old here.
I then asked them how these issues affect the youth in our community, specifically high schoolers.
Focusing on safe streets means that you don't have to own a car and have that big cost. You can ride your bike and feel safe getting across town. On the climate change front, climate it's a youth issue. It's an everybody issue, but youth are the ones who are going to be dealing with it. In the education process and in taking climate leadership, there's going to be tremendous opportunities for high school students to get involved.
And, I don't know what the perspective of, kids your age, high school students are, but we wanted to get out. A lot of my friends left. Some came back, and some are trying to get back, but they can't afford it because Petaluma's the hot spot now.
Well, climate change, your generation is going to be around a lot longer than my generation, so you're going to be dealing with the mess that if my generation can't turn the corner on it. Housing, I'm sure a lot of families with kids who grew up in Petaluma and the kids now live somewhere else. It's important for people graduating high school and graduating college and coming back to at least have the option of staying in the community they grew up in if that's what they want to do.
and our fire department and our city hall. I think for housing, for more affordable housing. So if you want to come back and live here, if you go to college, you'll be able to afford to do that. For transportation and transit that's affordable, I want us to be very creative and very visionary in attracting the types of businesses and types of organizations and activities here in Petaluma that are very forward thinking.
What I always say is that local government is the most important form of government because it has the most impact on your day-to-day life. So, we do roads, we do parks and recreation, we do water and sewer, we do public safety, we do, capital improvement projects where, we're replacing sewers and we're replacing water lines and we're doing all of that. And so it really has the most impact. Local government has the most impact on the day-to-day quality of life. And that's true whether you're a teenager or you're 85.
Yeah, I really think that, this is such a big time. There is a proposition, on the ballot to be able to engage our youth at an earlier age before they turn 18 and vote. And I think that's really important. I think that engaging our youth as early on and as consistently as possible will only benefit the city at large and make it stronger. And I really think it's so incredibly important to be engaging with the children of our community.
I hope you learned a lot about these candidates' views as well as the issues that affect our community and us as high school students. I would like to thank all the candidates who participated in my interviews for taking the time to speak with me. It is very much appreciated. You can find the full interview on our Trojan Broadcast Channel. I've also included the links in the description below to these candidates' campaigns and social media so that you can learn more about their views and opinions. For TBC News, I'm Max Bloom.
Thank you, Max, for that insight into City Council candidates. And that's it for this week's program. Stay safe out there, Trojans.
This is Trojan Broadcast Channel, and make it a great day.